What's up guys, it's Ryan, and in today's video we're going to be doing something that's probably needed to be done for a long time. So here's my 1985 Chevy K10. Since we have lived here in New Hampshire, which has been about 2 years now I guess, I haven't had this thing on the road. It was on the road when I brought it here, and it has some issues that need to be dealt with, but I want to get this thing running. The main reason is, well, two reasons. Number one, I just want to get it running. I want to get it on the road. I want to have it on the road this year. I was going to have this thing on the road last year, but some other things happened. And number two, it's kind of embarrassing. Like, a lot of people drive by. Yesterday, some neighborhood kids stopped by and they were like, hey man, when are you going to get that truck on the road? We drive by your house all the time and we just see it sitting there. What are you doing with it, man? So it got me thinking, you know, they're right. So between them, I've had other people stop and try to buy this thing, and obviously it's not for sale. I'm not going to sell it. And you know, I've had a lot of people on YouTube ask about it. So, you know, it's time to do something with this thing. So I'm feeling a little motivated. I don't know how long that motivation is going to last, but I'm acting on it now. The two things that I need to do to it right now to get this thing running is, number one, I guarantee the battery's dead. I'm going to try to jump it. It's probably going to have to charge up for a little while. And number two, the power steering pump is not in this truck right now. I took it out because I had a bright idea to swap out the power steering pump from this truck into my Chevelle. When I got the Chevelle, I had some problems with the power steering pump in that car, and both the car and the truck have very similar engines, so I thought it would be a bright idea to just pull the power steering pump out of this thing and put it in my car. Long story short, it didn't work. I just had to buy a new one online. So I never put it back in. If you guys don't know much about vehicles, basically the power steering pump has a little pulley on it that spins, that pumps fluid into the power steering box, which makes it easy to steer. That's kind of the dumbed down version of what it does. So here's the power steering pump right here that I was telling you guys about. Oh, let's pop the hood here. When I first bought this truck, I've had this truck for I've had it about 3 years. I've had this truck about 3 years. When I first got this truck, the interior was really shot. So I actually put a lot into the interior when I bought it. There's still a lot to do in there, but it's a lot better than what it was. I don't know if I have any pictures from what it looked like when I bought it, but as far as the engine bay, I haven't done a whole lot. I put a new windshield washer fluid tank on it, and that actually works great. But yeah, here's the engine. The power steering pump bolts into the engine right here. This is the bracket for it. And here is here's the belt that hooks to it that's loose. So, and then it's got a couple lines down there that I have to hook up. And then I need to get some power steering fluid because I don't think I have any in the garage. Oh, here's the other piece of the bracket for the pump. And I can't remember how it goes in here, so this is gonna be fun. Because I don't remember at all how this goes in. I probably should have taken some pictures before I took it apart. But yeah, here we go. Let's watch Ryan's Stupidity of Mechanics, Volume 1. All right, we got her bolted in. So we get the bracket on the actual pump. Just using a couple simple wrenches. That wasn't too difficult, but it was definitely nice to get out of that wind. It is cold out there. All right, folks, so it's much later in the day now. We had some company over, got some errands done, but I did get this pump in place. I actually originally had the bracket on completely wrong, so I went to put it in and it's completely wrong. So I got it in place. I got the belt on the pulley, and now all we got to do is make sure the tension's good and tighten her up. And oh, I ended up also getting just a brand new battery. I ran to the auto parts store, got a brand new battery, so I got to throw that in. And I also got a bunch of power steering fluid, so we can fill up the tank and hopefully maybe fire this thing off. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This always happens to me when I get a new battery. They put these little toppers on the terminals, and one always struggles to come off. The first one came right off, and this one wouldn't. I had to go get a pair of pliers. There we go. Man, these things are heavier than they look. Right into there like that. And then I'm just gonna loosely put these terminals on. I know it's not the right thing to do, but I took them off without get a wrench, so I'm just gonna put them on like that for now. I'll tighten them up in a minute. All right, so battery's installed. Now, we just gotta tighten this thing up. I also got some new nuts and bolts at the Lowe's hardware store down the street. Some lock washers and some regular washers. And a nut so that I can lock in the tension. So a bolt goes right through here, this one, and this thing slides up and down. And the slide is how you adjust your tension on your belt. So once I get the right tension, I'll put my bolt through there with a nut on the back side and tighten it up so it can't move. Alrighty guys, so we got our pump in. As you can see, we got the belt all tightened up. We got some freshy new bolts on there. Well, this one I used the old bolt. And then we got a new one right there. And yeah, we're good to go. Now all we gotta do is connect the lines down bottom. I'll show you guys that part now. All right guys, so we're under the truck. We got two lines here. We got this line, which is the low pressure return line. And the only thing that holds that on to the pump, which is right here, we're on the underside of it now. The only thing that holds that on is that little hose clamp. I probably should have got a new one, but it'll work just fine. And then we've also got the high pressure line, which is right here. And that just screws into the back of the pump with a wrench. And I can't remember what size wrench it is. So I brought a couple over here. I brought a 7/16 wrench. See if that'll fit on there, and it won't. Much, much, much too small. So I think actually I might have it. Let's see. We got a 9/16 and we got a 5/8. I also brought this little ratchet screwdriver with me to tighten up the clamp, which is right there. And I actually found this in a storage unit, and I was pumped when I found this because this is pretty sweet. It has all different little tips on it, and you store all the tips in this little thing here. You unscrew it, and you basically got a universal screwdriver in one, and it's ratchet, which is pretty sweet. So I'm gonna be testing that out for the first time on this project. All right, let's see. So is this a 9/16? You know, it might help if I just pull it down here. Oh, leaking fluid, leaking fluid. All right, so I pulled the high pressure line down. Got some old fluid leaking out of there. So now I can actually get to it. Figure out what size wrench it is. See, that's also too, maybe it is a 5/8, because that's also too small. So let's get the 5/8 wrench, and bingo. For some reason I thought it was a much smaller wrench that held that, or that screwed that in there, but apparently not. So let's get these lines. I don't think I'm gonna be able to film this because it's a really tight area, but we're just gonna connect these lines to the pump, and then we'll be able to fill the pump up, and then we're gonna be able to turn this thing over. So be right back. All right, so we got the power steering pump in there. So we're gonna take the cover off this. I probably should be using a funnel, and I'm probably gonna spill some. That's fine with me, I don't really care. I'll try that. That gets it on the stick. It's not even touching. Add a little more. Check that. Still not even touching. So we're gonna have to fill all these lines and everything too, so. Some more. They do fill up quick, so you gotta be careful. Because once they fill up the base, they fill it right up. Now it's full. Got the new battery in, and it's full of fluid, so should be good to fire her off. So that is what's next. All right, guys, here goes nothing. Got the key. Set you guys down so you can get a good shot of the truck and see if this thing fires off. I don't have my hopes up too much because this thing hasn't run in quite some time. Oh, baby! We got it. We got it. So that's awesome. So usually when this thing fires up, it sits at a high idle. Like you can hear it's running pretty high right now. Once it warms up and you give it a little bit of throttle, it'll die down. So let's see. There we go. Yep. That's crazy. So my steering should probably squeak now that I replaced that. All the air has to get out of the power steering system first. And once that does, then it'll stop squeaking. So it'll probably squeak when I try to turn. Yeah. See, it's kind of shaky. But once all the air gets out of there, that'll go away. So that's not a big deal, but there we go. Now it's really idling. Come on, baby. Come on, come on. There we go. So yeah, earlier I was telling you guys about how I pretty much did the whole interior. Well, most of it. New headliner. This is really nice. These aren't new. These are original. And then I put a brand new dash, brand new gauges. This used to be a fuel gauge, but I replaced it with a tachometer, which was really easy. I just had to basically switch out a circuit board behind the dash to reroute the fuel to this new fuel gauge here. And then I plugged in I had an external tachometer on the old dash, and I just wired it into this dash, which I think is pretty cool. You don't see a lot of dashes that look original that have this setup, so without having anything external. So yeah, I did that all myself. And yeah, this stick shifter right here I put in, this was from my first truck ever. This handle, I had a Ford Ranger that was a 5-speed, and I had this shifter in it. I've since got rid of that truck, but I made sure to keep the old original shifter and put it in this truck. So this is a bunch of basically parts that need to go in. That's carpeting for the cab, and also soundproofing the cab that goes underneath the carpet. So I can't believe how good this is running. This is crazy. This literally hasn't run in probably almost a year. But it's friggin' awesome. I'm pumped. Mission accomplished. Now we're gonna need to focus on the clutch issues because it does have a clutch issue. I can't get it into gear. And the clutch feels very spongy, but I'm hoping that it just came out of adjustment, because I never had a problem with the clutch at all. It was actually, it worked awesome. Didn't show any signs of failing. And this truck sat for a while, and then all of a sudden I went in to try to move it one day and it wouldn't move. So it was a very sudden thing. So I'm hoping that it's an easy fix and that I don't need to put a whole new clutch in the thing. But we'll see. But that's the next project for this thing, because I need to be able to move it. I can move it barely, but like there's no way I could drive it down the road because there's zero clutch at all. So success, guys. Hope you enjoyed the truck. It's running very, very, very smoothly. It actually looks like, oh, we got another problem, guys. It looks like we've got a dripping right out of the filter there, so that's not good. We're gonna have to get a new one of those. So that's what happens when truck sits. That's what happens when trucks sit. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new adventures and future projects with this truck. And yeah, until next time, see you later. Bye.